Thus you see that as you send out good or evil, it will return to you fourfold. You are standing forth as the Lord or law, giving forth good or God for the evil, but even in this attitude be truly humble. Judge not. Place every bit of love you possess upon this pure white ray, and see well to it that it is the pure love of God that you are generating and sending forth. As you accomplish this, legions are at your command. You are still meek and humble, willing to follow on with the light. It is the pure light of God that you follow, and that light is life, love, purity, and beauty, eternal and profound. There are 7 centers in your body that can be used as reflectors. You can cause these central points to glow with a radiance far greater than any artificial light, and when you wish to send out this light, it glows with a greater potency and will reach further than any electrical beam that can be projected. By setting all these centers aglow at the same time, you are completely surrounded by an armor that nothing can penetrate. You can send out the pure white ray of God, so energized that your body actually glows with a brilliancy far greater than that of the noonday sun. You stand forth God, Lord of creation, the Lord of hosts. You stand forth true and triumphant, yet peaceful, loving. God enthroned in your body, and that body beautiful, spiritual, and divine. As these vibrations came to us, the light emanating from the bodies of Jesus and his group was most difficult to behold, yet there was that vibrant brilliancy shining through, which resembled liquid gold. To our vision there seemed to be an indefiniteness, while to all of the other senses there was the solidity of rock. Again the vibrations came. In this way, you can make your body completely invisible to mortal sight by focusing your entire thought fully and definitely upon the pure white God ray and letting it go forth from the 7 centers as reflectors in unison. Then again you can step right out on either of these rays and present any picture that you wish to those that would do you harm. You can follow on this beam with the exact speed of light and go where you will instantly. Your body is invisible to those who do not see through and beyond the mortal. They are aware that there is something they do not understand, thus they are susceptible to any picture you wish to present to them. That which they do not understand is mysterious or supernatural, and the faculty which is developed through suspicion or superstition is easily misled. Thus you send out love to those that would do you harm, and the energy they release reflects back to them. The picture of harm they have sent out depicts the lower man of each one fighting that which they believe to be their enemy, when in reality they are fighting the picture of their own lower selves. These pictures change the closest friends into enemies and array brother against brother. Should this band still persist in their threatened attack and raid, they will destroy each other. They now have the opportunity of leaving the district and its inhabitants unmolested, or they will turn and destroy themselves. Man cannot attempt to destroy his brother without meeting the same fate for himself. We send only the pure white ray of God love to them, and if they resist that love with hate, malice, or revenge, they of their own free will turn that ray into a flame that will consume them. You need have no fear. We offer only love and have no power to compel them to accept. If the bandits come with love, there will be no conflict. Our cause is already won. At this juncture, a call came that there was a messenger approaching the village. We went out to meet him. He told us that the bandits had discontinued their raids and were peacefully encamped about 20 miles from the tall cross, and had not harmed any of the inhabitants or their possessions since the appeal for help, but that they were holding the prisoners as hostages against further resistance. He also said there was a persistent rumor that the band would attack our village within the next day or two if the treasure was not delivered the following day. The messenger brought greetings from the captive people. Every man had offered his life for the protection of the village. The messenger was told that this sacrifice would not be necessary, and that he could return with the thanks and the deepest appreciation of the villagers for the proffered service. We resumed our work next morning with renewed zest, having banished all fear from our thoughts. On the morning of the second day, we were working on some of the figures carved in the rock on the canyon wall. Suddenly, our attention was drawn to the village sentry, whose position was across the canyon at a greater elevation, affording a much wider outlook. Through our field glasses, we saw him signal the village. Soon the villagers were hurrying to and from, evidently seeking protection in the great gorge deeper in the mountain fastness. All the inhabitants were deeply agitated. We listened. We could hear the low thundering roar of the advancing horde. One of our party climbed to a higher position, which gave a broader view of the situation. He called back, stating that he could see the cloud of dust raised by the horsemen as they advanced toward the entrance of the canyon. We secreted our equipment in a nearby crevice, joined our associate, and found shelter in the surrounding crags and rocks where we could observe the movements of the band. As they entered the canyon, the band halted. 50 horsemen rode forward as an advance guard. Then the whole band moved up the canyon, spurring and lashing their horses into a wild gallop. The clatter and roar of the hoofs over the rocky floor, coupled with shouts of defiance, caused an indescribable din. Had it not been so tragic at the time, it would have been awe-inspiring to witness this great body of horsemen sweeping forward. Our position was very advantageous, as the canyon walls were nearly precipitous so that we could look directly down upon the bandit horde as they swept on with the seemingly irresistible force of a great tidal wave. The advance band of intruders had swept past our position, and those in the lead on the main band were fast approaching. We had turned our field glasses on the little village for the moment and observed that it was panic-stricken. One member of our party working on the ledge stopped work and was watching the advancing band. We saw him turn and look through the door leading to the entrance of the center room of the temple. Our field glasses were all centered upon the figure of Jesus as he advanced through the door and stepped upon the ledge, walking directly to the brink and standing for a moment with body magnificently poised. This ledge was about 800 feet above where we were concealed, and nearly 3 miles distant. Instantly we realized that he was speaking, and in another moment the words came to us clear and distinct. Our associate on the ledge sat down and began taking notes in shorthand, which I did also. Later comparison showed that we heard his words distinctly above the din of the advancing hordes. We were told that he did not raise his voice above his natural, well-modulated tones. As Jesus began speaking, a perfect calm came over the entire village and its inhabitants. These are his words, translated into English by Jesus himself. My most fervent prayer will always be that I shall never forget them, though I live to be 10,000 years. The light. As I stand alone in your great silence, God, my Father, in the midst of me, there blazes a pure light, and it fills every atom of my whole being with its great radiance. Life, love, strength, purity, beauty, perfection stand forth in all dominion within me. As I gaze into the very heart of this light, I see another light, liquid, soft, golden, white, and radiantly luminous, absorbing, mothering, and giving forth the caressing fire of the greater light. Now I know that I am God, and am with God's whole universe. I whisper to God my Father, and I am undisturbed. Still in the silence. Yet in this complete silence, there exists God's greatest activity. Again, I am undisturbed, and complete silence is all about me. Now the radiance of this light spreads to God's vast universe, and everywhere I know there is God's conscious life. Again, I say fearlessly, I am God. I am silent and unafraid. I lift the Christ high within me and sing God's praise. In the tones of my music, inspiration hums. Louder and clearer with each new day, inspiration is lifting my conscious thought until it is attuned to God's rhythm. Again, I lift the Christ high and give close ear that I may hear the glad music. My keynote is harmony, and the theme of my song is God, and God seals my song as truth. Behold, I am born anew. A Christ is here. I am free with the great light of your Spirit, God my Father. Your seal is placed upon my forehead. I accept. I hold your light high, God my Father. Again, I accept. As Jesus ceased speaking, a dazzling ray of pure white light shot out from the center of the solar part of his body. This beam of light extended down the canyon some distance to where the gorge made an abrupt left turn, just ahead of the place where the advanced group of horsemen were riding. At the point where this light beam terminated, a great barrier like a stone wall seemed to rise instantly, and great darts that appeared like flaming arrows shot out from this barrier. The advancing horses stopped so suddenly in their mad forward dash that they unseated a number of their riders. Many of them paused for a moment with their heads and forefeet in the air, then turned and bolted down the canyon completely out of control. When they reached the advance ranks of the main band, those riders that had not been unseated attempted to control their horses, but to no avail. These, as well as the riderless horses, plunged on and into the front ranks of the moving band. Here the movements of the front ranks were checked, while the ranks in the rear, not realizing their danger, came on and surged over those in advance, until the canyon below us was a seething mass of men and horses. For an instant, all was a dead calm save for the wild screams of frightened men and mad horses, where the wild stampede of the advance riders had clashed with the forward columns of the main band. There a terrific scene was taking place. The riderless horses, entirely free from restraining hands, had plunged headlong into and over the advance ranks, unseating many more men, and they, with their ungoverned mounts, added to the confusion. The horses began rearing, plunging, and screaming, as only dumb animals can in a moment of uncontrolled and violent fright. This mad melee was communicated through the massed horde in the canyon below us. Suddenly, we saw men draw their short swords, and slash wildly in every direction. Others drew their firearms and began shooting at men and horses in an attempt to clear the way for an escape. It soon developed into a battle of the survival of the fit. It ended in a mad dash for liberty by those who were fortunate enough to escape the shambles, leaving the gorge cluttered with great heaps of dead and wounded men and horses. We hurried down to give what aid we could to the wounded. All of the inhabitants and our friends joined us. Messengers were sent out far and wide for assistance. We worked feverishly through the night until after sunup the next morning.